Hey everybody, welcome to an episode of Show It Live here on showittier.com. I'm Field Denny. This is my amazing co-host, Elizabeth Langford.
Yeah, you're too kind. It's Tuesday!
Tuesday!
Welcome to Tuesday, everybody. We're so excited that you're here.
Tuesday is so much better than Monday.
Yeah, Tuesday's a really good day. We love our Show It Live
I prefer
days.
the letter T over M. No offense. It's just the way it is.
I do love Mondays, though.
Yeah.
We have a team meeting on Mondays, and it's so fun to get everybody back in the same room.
Sing Kumbaya, eat s'mores.
Totally.
It's a good time.
It's a great time. But we love Tuesdays, and we're so excited that you're here. We've got a great guest on today.
I actually wore teal for our guest today.
Nice.
Yes, and you wore blue.
I did.
Unbeknownst to you, it's also her second favorite color.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, we're just trying to show her love.
Yeah. So Shannon Cronin will be joining us here in just a moment to talk about when details really don't matter as much. It's a fun little topic. I'm excited to talk about.
I'm really excited to hear what she has to say about this, because I think she's onto something really important.
So speaking of important,
yes,
there's a lot of stuff going on in the world.
Oh my gosh,
so many things. Some great, some not so great. Some wonderful in the face of not so great.
Yes,
that's kind of this one. That's where this one steps in.
There are people out there working to help other people and change the world for good.
So here at Show It, we thanks to our awesome owner, we're able to have some pretty large hearts and work with some amazing organizations. One of them is called Free World, and you can go check out their site, freeworldnow.org. But what Free World does is they help out solve this problem of human trafficking, which is a terrible, horrible, awful thing.
It's something we don't hear about a lot, I think,
because it's not
news.
Something that's fun to talk about.
No, it's not, but it happens in so many different places, and especially third world countries. It's just really rampant. One
of the biggest spots, and really their focus, and it has been their focus since they started, was Nepal. Nepal's right next to India. They have open borders, and I mean, it's kind of a hot spot for human trafficking. And if you saw the news, Nepal was devastated by an earthquake. And so there's lots of things. You log on to Facebook today, the first thing that pops up right on top of your news feed is, would you like to donate $2 to help out Nepal? But I mean, it's this big thing, and it really hits home to Free World, because they have a large team there in Nepal. And luckily every one of them is okay. They're all safe. And they're already hitting it hard on helping people and helping people understand, like, hey, this is what's going on. I was talking to David Hessemer, who is with Free World, and he kind of described this like a gold rush, which is terrifying to think about. But
not a gold rush in the good sense, but in the sense of people taking advantage of other people and just massive chaos, confusion. You don't know maybe where your children are, where your brothers or sisters are. And there are things that we can do, even though they might seem small to us, are super impactful in changing the lives of the people who are living in the aftermath of this earthquake. So after these natural disasters, everything is discombobulated and things are going crazy, and people are in desperate need of help, more so than ever. And so the bad guys go in and they say, hey, we'll help you, and they wound up not helping them, and they do the complete opposite. So anyway, it's this really bad, horrible, awful thing. You can read more about the good that Free World is doing at freeworldnow.org. And you can also, on there's a link that you can donate to help the people of this earthquake. You can also donate to help just in general, helping these people out on a regular basis, because they do need help. Human trafficking is such a big deal there year round. It's just, this is kind of it's an immediate need. If you were following along when we did the 12 Days of Christmas back in December, this is the organization that has goats that you can purchase goats and let those go to a family for a certain amount of time to help them get started and help break that cycle of human trafficking. But it's amazing that just $20 can help to provide for one person. And when we think about how much we just spend at Starbucks in a week, I know that I am guilty.
And Starbucks isn't the enemy.
No, Starbucks is not the enemy, but I think it's great to think that $20, that a couple lunches out can really change someone's life and help to protect them in this situation. So if you go to freeworldorg.com or freeworldnow.org. I had that all backwards. Freeworldnow.org. You can make a donation directly there. And this is an organization that's run by Show of Tears.
Yeah, awesome. Super awesome people. Yeah, and also if you want to find out more about it, you can ask questions in the Show of Tears group. David Hessemer is in there, Dan Childers is in there, and they're both a part of Free World Now, and they're making a huge difference in a country that's on the complete other side of the world, which is amazing. But definitely go check them out. Go donate. It's amazing how little donations can add up to a huge change in their in their lives.
And it's really cool to see Show of Tears and members of the photography industry that are making huge changes in the lives of other people. And you can be a part of that in just a very small way, which is really cool.
Yeah, we have the greatest community ever. We do. So let's go prove it.
We're really blessed, and we're excited to bless some other people and help them out. So
yeah. So in addition to that, there's other good things that are happening. We came across this site the other day. I think it was earlier last week, and we just really wanted to showcase it off. It's a beautiful site.
It makes you want to go get a popsicle.
It really does. So BeccaDavisPhotography.com. We just wanted to feature the site. It's really cool. Say hello, and it's got a little mustache.
And not just because it has a lot of teal and you're wearing teal today.
But
it does kind of match your shirt.
It does. But the say hello, it's got a mustache. I love mustaches. It's got the popsicles. I really want, we were talking about this earlier. We had it up for just 10 seconds. And it's like, oh, I really want to eat a popsicle. Yeah. But it's got this great Meet Becca page, and you can find out all about her. You can see the kind words, and I love the way the kind words are set up. Just nice and simple, going from one to another.
Her site is very clean. It takes advantage of white space, which any designer will tell you is really, really important in then directing your eye towards what matters most. The photos are really large on the site, which I like. And this is a fun site.
Something that I really love, they really took advantage of multiple ways to contact her and to get in contact with them. You have the, on the homepage, you had the say hello where you could type in, you click on say hello, you can type in a nice little message and fill out the questionnaire really easily. And then
not just your standard contact form, in a little different format.
And then
I like that.
Back on the portrait session, you have the book session right down here in the middle, and it takes you to the same spot. So multiple areas to get to the contact information. Obviously, it's a big deal to have people actually reach out to you and say, hey, I love your work. And anyways, I thought she did.
You really do need to direct people to your contact page and kind of take them on a journey as they go through your site, and that site flow. And all of our designers would tell you how important that is.
Site mapping.
Yeah. It doesn't sound that exciting, but it really is super, super important.
I like site mapping because it makes sense to me. Like just the term, this is how you get there. Like, where's your end destination? Where do you start? And how do you?
So you like the guy who had like the road atlas in his car for years until it was like on your phone. Like you like the map.
I never followed it, but I had it because I loved looking through it. Well, I loved looking through it and seeing the maps and where different.
Oh, I've been looking at maps.
I follow signs.
And they're really fun. Like to look, especially like East Coast, everything's so close together. Everything's so far apart out here.
Well, and in Phoenix, everything's on a giant hashtag or a grid.
That is true. Yeah. That is true. Speaking of Phoenix, we've got a little something going on in Phoenix in
we do.
T-minus 6 months. It's actually less than 6 months away now.
6 months?
6 months to, what are we talking about?
We're talking about United. We're talking about Hugfest 2015.
We should just change the name.
We thought about it. We thought sincerely, what do we call this? Reunited, and
it feels so good. We're really looking forward to this.
So October 18th through 20th, United is going to be here in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's going to be gorgeous. It's going to be at the Fire Sky, the Fire Sky Resort. The water's going to be amazing. We're having a pool party. Sunday night. A lot of people have asked specifically because I think they have weddings on Saturday, and they say, what am I going to miss on Sunday? I have a wedding Saturday night and I can't get there. You're not going to miss anything. We don't start until like 6 o'clock on Sunday evening. So you should probably be able to get to us from wherever you are and not miss any of it. And the actual sort of programming of the conference will start on Monday morning, but we're going to have an epic pool party on Sunday night. And we know the value. I mean, we're photographers. We know the value of a post-wedding just I need my feet in the sand.
It's really true.
Yeah, there's actually even a little sandy beach, a little zero depth area you can put your feet in the sand. It's
like a pool and a beach party. And in fact, I think our friends Amy and Jordan Demos have a wedding that night in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
And Jordan is like, we're coming straight from the wedding. We're coming straight to the pool. Will you be there?
Yep.
Oh, heck yes.
Yes is the answer.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, but yeah, on top of the amazing pool party, it's going to be great for your business. It's going to be great to see other showteers out there, and maybe even some non-showteers.
We have some amazing speakers that are going to come. We've got a new thing called Gatherings this year, which is going to be really fun.
Which is my jam.
And in addition to some great keynote speakers, breakout sessions, we're going to have gatherings and we're going to have style shoots. So we're really excited. This is going to be epic.
There's much more. So you can go to showitunited.com, find out a little bit more about it. The full schedule's not out yet.
It's coming.
But it's coming. Yeah. We're working hard on that.
But you can still grab a ticket. There are a handful of tickets left. But this is a small event because we want you to be able to meet and hug one another and not feel like you're not part of something really,
there'll be
special.
a chance to build some real relationships. And anytime you talk to somebody who's been to United, they're like, I made this lifelong friend. And it's usually a list of 7 or 8 people.
That's true.
So,
it's awesome. It's a great community.
One of the lifelong friends that I made is Miss Shannon Cronin. And she's joining us today to talk about something that's really important when details don't matter as much, right?
We get caught up
in
the details. What is that saying? The devil is in the details.
The devil's in details.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we lose our focus a little bit. And so Shannon has got some really great ideas about how making other things, specifically one other thing, a priority on the wedding day is really important. And she's joining us all the way from Boston, where I think spring has sprung finally. The East Coast is now starting to warm up.
We call it BOMA.
I don't understand that. It makes me think of Beaumont, Montana.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Or is that Beaumont, Texas?
Beaumont, Texas.
My geography is bad.
And then we also have her site. Let's show her beautiful site.
It's so pretty.
Her site is a Melissa Love.
The Design Space Co.
Yeah, Design Space Co. And then it was customized by Julie Wilmus, who is another one of our design partners. Yeah. And she's down in Fort Worth.
She is. Texas. Yeah. Oh, I do. Oh, I love this site. It's got the blue and the teal.
It is gorgeous.
We do match her site today. Yeah. Very unintentional.
That was the idea.
That's very exciting.
Anywho, without further ado, here's the amazing Shannon. Hi, Shannon.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
So good.
So good. I love your office space. That is adorable.
Thanks. It's a little teal, a little bit much, but it's
just
fun.
A little teal.
Just a little bit.
Just a little teal, but teal is such a friendly color.
Oh my gosh. I love teal. It's so many of our showteers have put teal into their homes, and I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, I think it's very welcoming. It's very light.
It
keeps things open. I know too much about color.
Yeah, it's okay. You're a photographer. You get away with this because you are a photographer.
For sure.
Well, Shannon, thanks for joining us and talking about a subject that you're really passionate about.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm really stoked. This is gonna be fun. So, I'm a little nervous. I'm not shaking, but I'm a little. Just not gonna lie.
Just hold it up and we'll call it jazz hands.
Look how steady they are.
Oh, you're so steady. It's like in Blazing Saddles where he's like, look at this. He's like steady as a rock. He's like, yeah, but this is my shooting hand. You know, have you ever seen? No, Blazing Saddles. I love you all.
No, I'm that one person. Okay. Like, you ask me if I've seen a movie, $10 says I haven't. I'm the worst.
We've played this game before.
We have.
Shannon has seen a lot of movies.
So Shannon, tell us a little bit about yourself. We said you were in Boston, Massachusetts, or BOMA, as we like to call it, BOMA, which is like no ma, but Boston, Massachusetts. No, okay.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I will say the only person I've ever heard it called BOMA is Field Denny. So I mean, you could be starting something, but so far it's just down to 2 people. So. We'll keep trying.
I'm good if it's just you and me. It's fine.
I live in Boston, and Liz, you were right. Spring is starting to spring. I mean, I'm still wearing a scarf. It's like 50 degrees here today, but we're getting there, which is exciting. We had a really rough winter, but we're stoked for spring and summer and all the awesomeness that comes with it. So yeah, I've lived here for about 20 years, and I got into wedding photography totally by accident about 4 or 5 years ago. And just fell in love with it, and now I can't imagine doing anything else. So it's amazing, and I love it, and yeah, that's it.
So how long have you been shooting then?
April is my shoot-versary, I guess. So it's been about, I think it's been 4 Aprils.
Okay.
Yeah, 4
so
years.
Many Aprils.
So many Aprils. Yeah, I think it's been about 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
Is April sort of the start then of your season? Is this now when things are starting to ramp up for you and wedding season is getting underway?
Yeah, it usually starts around here in May. So actually Saturday is my first wedding of the big season, and then it goes right through until October. So it's kind of the opposite of what you guys have down there in Phoenix, I imagine, where you're shooting, more, September through.
Well, we take December off. We have 2 seasons here.
Yeah.
We really have, usually it's February through mid-May. Some people shoot late into May, but it just gets really warm. And then usually September through end of November.
Yeah. I have a June 28th wedding this year.
In Arizona?
In Arizona.
That sounds hot.
It's going to be on fire.
So luckily, sweat photographs really well.
It just makes it look like you're glistening. It's
glistening
great.
joy.
It's great.
I love it. All right. So your first wedding is coming up this Saturday for the season, Shannon. And you have decided to focus on something other than the details. And so the title of our show today was When Details Don't Matter. Tell us about that.
So it's kind of a multifaceted thing, because I would never want wedding vendors that provide the details to feel like they don't matter, because what they're doing is important. Flowers and dresses and shoes, it's all important to the story, but there's definitely something that matters more. And I think as an industry, wedding industry has gotten really focused on details, and it's just, it just bothers me. You go to wedding blogs and Style Me Pretty, or, really anything that has to do with the wedding industry, and it's all about the details. I remember, 2-3 years ago when I was shooting, I was just getting started and thinking it would be really cool to get featured on a blog or to, be published one day. And I was thinking well, they want details, so I need to shoot more details. I need to really put all my focus on getting those great detail shots. And that's what's important, because that's what's going to get me featured. That's what's going to get me published. And I often neglected family formals and, the stuff that's really important, because 60 years from now, someone might open a wedding album and, they're going to be looking through the photos. No one's going to sit there and start crying at a pair of Jimmy Choos that were photographed beautifully. It's a great photo, but no one's going to get emotional over it. They're going to get emotional over the family photo with them and their husband or wife and their parents and their grandparents and their brothers and sisters, because that's what really matters. And, those people might not be around in 60 years, but you want to have photos to remember them by. So
when did this realization hit you? Because, you and I, we've chatted, but when did this actually hit you? Oh my gosh, the importance of this photo.
Getting priorities in order.
Yeah, I think it just kind of, over the last 2 years or so, as I was shooting weddings, I had some weddings where the focus was really on the family. And when I think back and think about the weddings that have been my favorite, and the ones that have meant the most, it's really been the ones where family was the center of it. And it was really it was really the celebration of the start of a marriage. It wasn't just the wedding. So that kind of started it. And then just from my own family experiences, I went home this year for Christmas, and I was at my grandparents' house, and I realized I've never seen their wedding photo. And my other grandmother, her and my grandfather, they have one wedding image, and it was taken by a street photographer in Dublin on, the day after they were married. And that's their only wedding photo. That's the only proof we have of their, wedding day or day after. And I'd seen that one, but I realized I'd never seen my other grandparents' wedding photo. So I asked my grandfather, and I was like, we have an hour or so, can we go downstairs and look through the albums and find your wedding photo? And he's just like, what? Why do you want to see that? And I was like, please, I just really want to see it. So we went downstairs, and I love my grandparents. They are just it's like a mini museum in their basement. It's photo album on photo album on photo album, documenting every part of our family, which is great. So we opened one up and found their wedding photo, and I actually have it framed on my desk, and it's really, really cool. Oh, there's a but it's really cute to, I didn't think I would get emotional, but when I found it, I started crying, and I had no idea why, but it was amazing for me to be able to see that photo and to see my grandparents before they were my grandparents, before they were even parents. I think so many times, like, I mean, even my parents, I don't know my parents as Brennan and Christine. I know them as mom and dad. So to see photos of them before they were married is really cool. And to see photos of my grandparents, you know, my grandfather is a 19-year-old in the Army with like his like dapper haircut and his suit and everything. Like, it's really cool to be able to look back and get to know those people as who they are versus how you know them. And I love that. So once I saw that, I was like, I really want to be able to give that moment to someone 60 years from now. I want to be able to capture images that are going to last 60 years and images that are going to mean something in 60 years. Because as awesome as Jimmy Choos are, 60 years from now, you know, no one's really going to care. It's part of the story and it's important. You know, I would have loved to see the shoes that my grandmother wore on her wedding day, but I like this photo better. This one means more to me. This is the one that's framed on my desk. So that's kind of how it started, and, you know, just kind of went from there. And yeah. I don't know. Can I answer your question?
Became very passionate about it.
No, yeah. I think that's really cool. How do you balance then getting these family portraits and the details? Because in modern times, in the day and age we live in now, there's a desire for both, but maybe not a priority that's put on the family portraits that you're starting to bring to your clients.
Yeah. I mean, I still love shooting details. It's something that I like doing. I don't dislike it. That was a great sentence, by the way. I like doing it. I don't dislike it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Oh, gosh. I mean, you were confirming your statement.
It was, yeah, emphasizing.
Powerful.
So I do like shooting details. So I will, you know, I make a timeline with my brides, and it's pretty detailed. So I'll set time aside for details, but then I also set time aside for photos. And if it comes down to one or the other, I'll have my second shooter go shoot details, or, you know, we'll just do them after, or, you know, I'm trying to prioritize and have my brides prioritize family photos over the detail photos. And I know, like, I was super guilty of this, and I know a lot of photographers, like, you'll ask them, like, hey, what's the least favorite part about shooting a wedding day? Like, what's the thing that you like the least? And people are like,
don't ask that question.
Family formals.
Right.
And I mean, it's true. It's not generally a fun time. You kind of like herd people together and line them up, and it's not creative, and it's not fun, and it's tedious, and all you really want to do is get to the bride and groom photos. And, you know, I totally get it, but there's definitely ways that I've found that make those family formals easier and more fun, and then just make it a better experience for the family, which is really what you want to do. So before the wedding, I sit down with my brides and I get all of their families' names. So their parents' names, their siblings' names, their grandparents' names, if they'll be there. So on the wedding day, I can address people by name. So instead of saying like, hey, bride's mom, can you scoot over this way? I can say, hey, Mary, I would love for you to take a step this way. And I can address her by name, so it's a better experience for her. And then I use those names to make combinations. Like, I know some people can do it off the top of their head, like a moment of. I can't do that. I get flustered, and I don't want to miss anyone. Because, again, family photos are so important. I want to make sure that we get the family photos that the bride really wants. So if she really wants a photo with her grandfather, I want to make sure we get that. So we make a list of all the combinations. And then that way on the day of, instead of scrambling around and trying to remember who's who and making it really hectic, I can sit there and be like, okay, well, cross this one off. I need this person, this person, this person, this person. Take that photo, cross it off, this person, this person, this person. So it's really easy. It's super organized, and it just helps me to not be flustered and panicky, and allows me to keep cracking jokes. They're awful jokes, but they're jokes. Keep smiling and just keep being upbeat and happy, and trying to make the whole family formals thing a positive experience for the family.
And do you have an example of this list? And do you take people and then add them on and then subtract?
Yeah,
or
sorry, I don't have it in front of me. Let me grab it.
All right.
I think this is such a great idea. I kind of do something similar where I ask for everybody's names, and then I ask, are there any special situations in your family that I should be aware of and my team should be aware of? There are special situations, and then that helps to not make it more awkward, because I think that while this is maybe a stressful time for the photographer, family formals are really stressful on the family and the guests, especially if there are delicate situations going on within that family, I think it's better to ask people and see how you can serve them.
Who's gonna stand next to Uncle Field? I
Right?
know nobody wants to stand next to Uncle. Yeah.
That's gonna be a thing someday.
It will be
You're
a thing.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So I have this list for a wedding I have coming up mid-May, and we went over it this week. We just had a Skype call and we went over it, and I asked that Liz. I said, "Do you have any sensitive situations? Like, do you have anything that I should know about? Any divorces or anyone that's not going to be there?" And the groom was like, "Well, my mom passed away, so she won't be there." So now I know on the wedding day, I know not to be like, "Hey, groom, we need your mom for a photo."
Right.
Like that would be just awful. And I'm just like shivering right now. I would never want to do that. So we kind of figured out like who was going to be there. And he said his dad will be there and he has a girlfriend, but they don't really want her in too many photos. So we did. So we actually made this list right here. So I don't know if you can see it very well.
It's legit.
But it's literally a list with all their names, and it just lists them. You kind of build it up to the big family, and then you strip it away again, and it's going to be done. I mean, there's like 20 groups, but it'll be done in 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll get all the photos that they want, and they'll enjoy the process, and I won't be screaming and yelling, and they won't be pissed off at me, and it's going to be great.
Yeah. What I love about that is obviously when you make it a priority, you organize it better.
Mm-hmm.
And to where, like, I know sometimes family formals feel like they can drag on if you
Right.
don't know, like, ahead of time
Mm.
who's involved and all of that. So I love that because that gets it. I mean, that makes sure you get everybody, but it also gets it done in like a really timely fashion.
And
Yeah.
a lot of couples have been involved in family photos at one point or another, and that is something that tends to come up in a consultation. How long are family photos going to take? What's that going to be like? How do you handle that? And it must be that they've experienced it and it wasn't so great. So if you can set their mind at ease before the wedding, I'm going to control this situation and help you, and it's going to be great. I mean, that's a great way to set that expectation for them and just remove the nerves about that part of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I mean, as a wedding professional, as a photographer or a florist or a caterer, like your job is to create that environment for the couple. Like you're not just making pretty flowers, you're not just taking pretty photos. Like you're really helping them on the day of to have a good experience. And one thing that I had to realize, and I think a lot of photographers maybe should realize it too, don't hate me. Weddings are not about us. Weddings are not about the photographers. Whoa, I know. I'm sorry. I know, right? Time out. Weddings are not about us. So if you don't like doing family formals, that's okay. Just, not to be rude, suck it up and do it right and do it well and do it in a way that's best for your client. Mm-hmm. Because I love being friends with my clients. I love being friendly with them and laughing together, but they are still hiring me to do a job. So I want to make sure that I can do that job and serve them right and do that job right so that in 60 years, their kids are still enjoying those wedding photos. So yeah, once you realize that, you're like, oh man, it's not about me. What?
Well, and I think as photographers also, we focus so much on taking care of like the bride and groom, and we think, oh, for free marketing, whatever, we're gonna get referrals from the bride and groom, but really, like if you take care of the whole family, right? This becomes
a lot of times mom and dad too have paid for you. You may have not met with them, but they are sort of the ones that are financing the situation. And so just going above and beyond and knowing their names and addressing them properly, I think goes a really long way. And then it makes them feel more comfortable in front of the camera because they didn't experience this kind of photography. I'm almost guarantee it when they got married. They look at this situation now and they're like, this is like the paparazzi. How does this work? And when brides want photos with their dads, of the dad's having a little tear in his eye and his arm around her, that doesn't happen naturally in every situation. But if you've made that dad feel comfortable and you know his name, like he gets to let his guard down around you and your camera. And you can
go right up there with the red eye and get a tear, and
it just changes things so dramatically when you treat them like people. They deserve to be, and not just mom and dad. I think knowing their name is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And greeting them by name has been one of my favorite tricks. And I picked that up from a local photographer here like 3-4 years ago. So on the wedding day, like when I'm in the car, I'll be like, okay, so mom and dad are Mary and Joe, like Mary and Joe, Mary and Joe. And then once you get there, I mean, it's 4 names to remember. I try to remember like siblings and bridal party as well, but the parents, it's 4 names. Usually there might be 8, but sometimes it's 4. 4 names to remember. And when you can walk into a bridal suite, be like, hi, oh my gosh, you're Mary. It's so nice to finally meet you. Mm-hmm. Liz, you're totally right. It changes everything. And when you were talking about, marketing and referrals, man, parents are such great referral sources. And it's really not, I don't do any of this just to get referrals, but it's definitely a nice bonus. Mm-hmm. When you greet the parents and call them by name and say goodbye at the end of the night. I'll say goodbye to the bride and groom, but I also try to go say goodbye to the parents and thank them for having me and tell them to enjoy their evening and tell them what a beautiful day it was. Chances are they might have paid for some of it. So, it's just those little things. And I remember this summer I had a bride's mom who was just really nervous. She was kind of flustered, like there was a lot going on, and she was just excited. It's her only daughter was getting married, and it was just a big day for her. And so she was kind of like freaking out a little bit, and she went to put her dress on, and it was one of those dresses that had like 2 or 3 straps on each side, and one of them just snapped right off. And I could see her face just be like, and I'm thinking like, this is going to be a moment that it's going to ruin the day for her. And luckily, I don't know how, I had a safety pin like in my pocket. Usually it's in my camera bag, but I whipped a safety pin out, like pinned the strap right on, and it took like 30 seconds and she was fine. But I remember that she wrote me a review. She didn't really mention the photos. She didn't really mention like any of that. She mentioned the fixing of the strap and how that was like huge to her. And I have no doubt if she knows someone that's getting married, she's going to refer me, not because I was this great photographer or took amazing pictures or whatever, like their photos were great, but it's just those little things that go above and beyond. And it's definitely something that I've had to get used to. It doesn't come naturally to like want to jump in and help everyone all the time. Mm-hmm. Maybe to some people, but it's hard to like be prepared and stuff, but it makes a huge difference. And again, it's not about us. If we can find ways to help everyone that needs help on a wedding day, like fixing a strap, fixing a boutonniere, whatever. It's
learning how to tie ties, how to tie bow ties, how to do handkerchiefs, how to fold handkerchiefs, how to...
Yeah. The easiest one, just go for the poof, because you just pick it up and put it in the pocket. It's so easy.
Oh, I have, you can favorite photos on your phone.
Yeah.
And so I have a favorites folder that shows me, and in that is how to properly fold a handkerchief.
That's smart.
And I use it every wedding.
That is going above and beyond.
Every wedding.
Yeah.
That's
I can't remember. It's like squares.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I really love how you came to this, Shannon, being able to look back at your own family photos and realizing what matters. Mm-hmm. How do you feel that your brides take it? Like when you meet in a consultation, do you talk specifically about how you are going to put more emphasis on family portraits than perhaps another photographer might?
Yeah, I've been trying to. I think it's one of those things. Everyone talks about how do you know your client is your client? Like, how do you weed them out and stuff? And I think I've been using this as a way to weed out clients that might not be the right fit, because I talk so much about family. And my family photo is, I don't know if you can see it on it's hanging up like right over there.
It's around the corner.
Yeah, it's around the corner. You can't see it. But my family's photo is hanging right there. And my grandparents' photos, my parents' wedding photos are all on that shelf. Or they normally are. They're on my desk right now. But so when clients sit down, they sit on this little window bench when they come in for their meetings. It's kind of strategic that they're looking at my family photos. Mm-hmm. They're looking at my family, they're looking at my grandparents. And then when I talk about it, I pick them up and I talk about them. If they're not into that, then they're probably not going to hire me. But if they are into it, then they might. And that'll make it easier on the day of, because they know that I'm about the family photos and about, creating images that are going to last. So yeah, that definitely makes it easier. I haven't yet had a bride that didn't like that or didn't want that or anything. So yeah.
I'd love for you to be my photographer. I hate my family, so just don't take any pictures.
Right? I think so many people, photographers especially, we're guilty of not having family photos taken on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And so a wedding is really an opportunity to document a family. And it's always, a turning and a changing point in their lives. And my parents in their dining room, in their home, all around this very formal dining room are the photos of both sides of their families the bride and groom portraits.
Yeah.
Because that used to be all you would take.
Yep.
There was one photo taken, maybe two. You might take a photo of cutting the cake. And it is like walking through history and seeing a bride and groom before he went to World War I and a bride and groom before he went to World War II, and just this story. And I always used to think it was cool as a kid. And now as a grown up and a photographer, I'm like, this is my legacy, and it hangs on the walls. So thinking forward about providing that to someone else, I think is so powerful. And they do want it. They just don't even know that they want it yet, because we live in such an immediate world, and what's on my phone now is what I'm most interested in. I think a lot of times we're not thinking about the legacy aspect of a wedding day. So bravo to you. I think this is awesome.
Yeah.
And you're,
Liz,
I think you're totally right. It's, family photos are one of those things that you don't realize you really want it until it's gone, until you can't have it anymore. And, I think for our own families as well, as photographers, like, don't just go around photographing other people's families. Photograph your own. And I'm super guilty of not doing that. We went home in January to see my grandmother, and it was going to be the first time, like, all of my uncles were going to be together. Like my mom, my dad, my brother, and I were going to be there. We're never there at the same time. She lives in Ireland, or lived in Ireland, so it's kind of like a trek to get there. So I brought my camera, and I was like, you know what? Like, this is my goal for this trip. I'm going to get family photos. I want to document all this family that's together, and it's important to me. And we didn't make it a priority. And we got cell phone photos, and they're in low light. They're not that great. They'll never be printed. And I didn't take my camera out and really make it a point to get those photos. And it's one of my biggest regrets, because my grandmother passed away last month, and we'll never get those photos now. And I mean, I have photos of her on her own, but I don't have photos of her with my mom, my dad, and my brother. So it's just one of those things, like, photograph your own family, photograph other people's families, like, photograph the stuff that matters and the people that you're going to want to remember in 30 years or 3 years or 3 weeks. So
yeah, I think the intentionality is really, really huge. And it's interesting, if you look back at old photos or even old videos, I've really noticed this with videos. When video cameras first came out, everyone was excited. No one shied away. They didn't put their hand in front of their face. They waved at the camera because it was so cool to then be able to see yourself on film. And I think now we've just become so lackadaisical about it. Like, I can take a photo with my iPhone. Really cool to be. And selfie sticks, as silly as they are, it's an intentional thing to get a group photo or a selfie in that moment. And I think putting the intentional back into photography, whether it's professional or it's just your personal, it's so important.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Shannon, and for sharing this awesome passion of yours. Great. Yeah, it's wonderful.
I hope more people take it on.
Oh, for sure.
I hope so too. Just to, wedding photographers, we need to be more than just people that take pictures to be published and featured. I think we need to get back to why photographers exist in the first place, and that's to document people. So I hope that changes a little bit.
That's I know that our next family formals is going to go a little differently.
Yeah, you're going to have a little Shannon Cronin on your shoulder.
Yeah. I mean, we do some of these things, but I don't think the intentionality is as important.
We all need the reminder.
So thank you for the reminder, Shannon.
Absolutely. And we will see you. We will actually get to hug you in person. If we don't see you before, we'll get to hug you in person at United, right?
I will be there. I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Hopefully we'll see you beforehand. Because that's like 6 months away.
I think we should. 6 months feels a long way.
It is.
You never know. Phoenix isn't that far. I mean, I might just surprise you guys and show up.
Woo!
You have a couch to sleep on.
I have a couch to sleep on.
Oh, you can come stay with me. I won't make you sleep on the couch.
Yeah, but she can sleep with our dog Daisy.
I cannot offer Daisy as part of my room accommodations. I apologize.
Well, thank you once again, Shannon, and show tears out there. Thank you. Definitely check out her site, ShannonCroninPhotography.com. And then also, please remember to go to freeworldnow.org. Yes. Check that out. Help the people out in Nepal. It's such an important deal and such a big part of who we are here. We want to help. We want to help others. So you could definitely go check those out. And then also join us next week.
Yep. next
We're
Tuesday.
going to have Chris Mortensen calling in, and he's going to share with us some very interesting stats and stuff about advertising on Facebook and
He's
how to do it.
some tricks.
How to do it properly. So that'll be a great show as well. Tons of great business stuff in there for you guys. But thank you very much. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.